October 14th.
October 14th. So almost happy Halloween to you. And we are coming at you live from the Rosebud Continuum Sustainability Education Center, where we're looking at a backpack. Why are we looking at a backpack? We're looking at a backpack. Nathan, why are we looking at a backpack?
We got a Togo.
Togo. Can you tell us what a Togo is? I'm going to switch the camera and
Sure.
show us what's in this backpack. First, pick up the backpack. I want to see if that backpack's heavy. It's not too heavy. Well, what is it?
So a Togo is a power station, a portable power station.
A portable power station. Fits in your backpack.
Fits in your backpack quite well, yeah. You can keep, and it's fairly light. It's made out of lithium, so not lead like other batteries.
So when you travel on the plane to your remote island destination, you cannot put it in your checked luggage because they will not allow. They will not allow in checked luggage lithium batteries because of the risk of fire. That there's been these incidents. Now that's being corrected with the lithium iron phosphate batteries, like the big 5 kilowatt one we're getting here for the Rosebud Continuum. But those are new and they're very expensive. Lithium's still expensive, but not as expensive as lithium iron phosphate. So that one could technically, like all lithium batteries in your laptop and everything else, could catch fire or overheat. So they make you bring it on board, which is why it's nice that it fits in the backpack. And what does this thing do?
It's just like a big portable battery. It's also got a light.
Let's put it in the sun, actually turn it around because I can't see it there. There, this way is good. I just wanted to get the sun on it.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got?
So we got a portable battery. We got advanced 350, although it's only 330 watts. That's a good 364 or 346
watt hours.
Watt hours.
So that's the number of hours that you get at. Well, you get 1 hour at 346 watts. So let's say that your laptop consumes 60 watts.
1 hour for 30. Okay.
So you could run technically, you could run 2.5 to 3 laptops for an hour if they're at 60 watts. Right? What's 3 times 60? 240. 240, isn't it? No, it's 180. 180.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, I can't do math, and my son's laughing at me. So actually, no, you could run you could run 6 laptops.
Wow.
Almost for 1 hour, or you could run 1 laptop for 6 hours.
Okay. 1 laptop for 6 hours.
Well, not quite, because 346 is not 360, and there's losses. I mean, let's face it, everything that's rated is the optimal. Tip it over, if you will, a bit.
Yeah.
The optimal rating. So let's say that realistically a 60 watt laptop you could run for maybe 5 hours, which would be 300 watt hours.
Okay.
Or you could run 5 laptops that are 60 watts for 1 hour. Or if your laptop consumes more because the charging consumes more, let's say that it's 120, then you could run it for 2.5 to 3 hours off of this. And they probably show on the website the specs for how much.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I'll
have to look at the specs.
What's nice is its inverter is AC pure sine wave. Remember we were trying to run the fan the other day?
Sine wave, yeah. I remember, yeah.
And that was a modified sine wave inverter that I had, and that really doesn't do well with some things like high fidelity audio equipment or motors and things like that. So this one's got a nice pure sine wave inverter for AC.
Pure sine wave.
That's good, and that's coming out of the AC out, so it obviously has the inverter. And there's the plug there. And it's 15 amp at 125 volts. Okay. You're not going to run your air conditioner off that, obviously.
No, we're not there yet.
It's got USB. It's got it's got quick USB, quick charge 3.0s, and 1 PD. It's the standards for USB. USB 1 is the old school. USB 2 charged or gave data more slowly. The USB 3 was quick charging and quick data. It's just more wires in there, I guess. It's more copper or more aluminum.
It charges faster.
It charges faster, and
that's to save wattage.
Just save time.
Oh, okay. Well,
quick charge. So a lot of laptops, the new ones will have USB 3, and this has USB 3. So it's putting out 5 volts.
I think my laptop still have to be charged by this.
No, I mean when you're putting in peripherals and stuff like a hard drive and things like that. Or phone charging, obviously, you can do from there.
I have a Sonicare toothbrush.
Anything that has USB charging at 5 volts. So that's your 5 volt DC out. This is your AC 125 volt at 15 amps out. There's then a DC out for 12 volts, 10 amps. That's the cigarette lighter thing in your car.
Yeah. Is this how I charge it? No.
Well, I've been charging mine, which is not a Togo, the lead acid one that I have. I've been always charging through this DC port because it's connected to the battery directly. It's direct current. Therefore, you can shove electrons in and you can get electrons out. However, that may not have any of the protections. So that's why we want to check with the company and see if we charge using this 12 volt, I guess we'd use a charge controller for that. And the charge controller should take care of it. But it does say here, input 12 to 28 volts, and it's got a special plug, and we have to make sure that we get that. Looks like, I mean, back in the day, you'd buy that plug from Radio Shack.
Now you have to...
There ain't no Radio Shacks anymore. So we'd have to figure out what that plug is and get that end, and then we could wire it to the solar panel, because it's just got a positive tip and a negative sleeve probably, but we need to know the polarity, and then we'd have to wire that onto one of the solar panels. But I'm sure that the one they sell with it, the 60 watt that they sell with it, has that connector. So you just plug it in. It's probably sold that way. But anyway, 12 to 28 volts is what it will take for charging. And I don't know these. I've never seen these before.
Yeah, I don't know what those are.
They're plugs for pulling some kind of power out, DC power. It looks like a banana plug that would go in there, but I've never seen that particular plug.
That's not like for a guitar or something?
No, I don't know. I mean, there's so many ways to get. I mean, obviously that it's got a negative and a positive. The sleeve is probably negative and the tip is positive. Why there's two of them? Probably to charge two devices. I've just never seen that kind of thing for using power. Of course, we all know the cigarette lighter one, but these are not part of that. This is one, and this is either 2 and 3, but they're DC outs. Now it did say on the back, and this is where we have. It's very lightweight. Look at that. It's usually lightweight. There is some concern here that it says it's got a. I'm in the shadow there. I mean the sun. No, I want to get it so I can. Okay, without casting my shadow on it. So it does say that it's a lithium battery, and 18650. Capacity is 346 watt hours, 22.2 volts, 15.6 amp hours. That's interesting. Does that mean that it's a 22 volt battery in there? It's possible. That would be interesting. And if that were the case, well, then that's what I don't know about this, because if it's a 22 volt battery that they've done in here, then you wouldn't really want to connect a 18 watt solar panel DC directly into here, because it would not push electrons into a 22 volt battery. Now in mine, it's a 12 volt lead battery, so anything above 12 volts can push electrons into the battery through the cigarette lighter. Same with your car. You can charge your car battery through here, as you've seen me do with my solar panel. But if they've done a wiring configuration where it's a 22 volt battery, then the only way to do this is to use their little port there, I would think.
But I don't have.
Right, which we don't have yet. So there's some research to be done. 12 to 28 volts input, 80 watts max. So you wouldn't want to use necessarily a 100 watt panel unless they tell you can through a charge controller. I know, I have to call him. All right, so so that's then the input by solar panel is 16 to 22 volts. So you can use a single solar panel. In fact, you should, or many solar panels wired in parallel. But then again, you'd exceed the wattage if you did that. So, but the panel's output we saw yesterday when we were measuring them, that in the cloudy weather, there's down to 16 volts, and then when it got sunny, it was 19 volts. So solar panel input is fine. Charging temperature is 32 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 0 to 40 Celsius. So you don't want it to get too hot, but it does go down to 0 to almost freezing, well, to freezing. Discharging temperature is 14 to 104, so negative 10 to 40. So you could take it camping and it would still work down below zero, but
Cool.
not over 40 degrees, which is 104 Fahrenheit. The outputs are AC. There's 120 volts, 60 hertz, 330 watt with a 660 watt surge. Now that means that if you started something with a little motor, like a teeny air conditioner, if it didn't go over 660 watt surge, it would start up, right? Okay, and your microwave, for example, is usually 900 to 1,100 watts with a surge up to 1,500, 2,000 watts. So you're not running the microwave off of this little guy, but you might run something that settles in, like perhaps a small InSinkErator food grinder, which generally runs at about 300 watts. If the surge, even that, the surge is going to be up to a kilowatt. But anyway, it's got that variance is what I'm saying. It'll take up to 660 watts. So you'll become familiar with what appliances do what.
Yeah.
DC output is 1 cigarette lighter, port 12 volts, 10 amps. They don't say anything about those other little things. Oh, yes, they do. Total 120 watts for 2 DC 5525, 12 volts, 10 amps. So apparently there's some kind of plug called a DC 5525, and I've never heard of that, but that's what these things must be. Because this is the 12 volt, 10 amp cigarette lighter that they list on the back there. Okay.
I got my eye on him too.
Then you have, so the cigarette lighter port is the 12 volt, 10 amps there. Then those 2 little ones are 2 DC 5525. So you could look up and see what kind of plugs and what uses a DC 5525, but also 12 volts, 10 amps total, which is, when you multiply those, 12 volts times 10 amps is, how many watts?
Sorry. 12
volts times 12 times 10. You can do this in your head.
120.
120. So 120 watts is all you're going to get out of this. Okay, or these.
Okay.
120 watts. Whereas this can give you 346 or 330 watts. So just knowing that there's not a lot that you're going to power from the DC side.
So the DC is not as powerful as the AC side,
Right,
basically?
that's right. Then it has USB 3 ports, 3 times 5 volt, 9 volt, or 12 volt, up to 3 amps. Total 54 watts max, and that makes sense. If you multiply, well, 3 times 12 is 36, but it actually gives you a little bit of leeway. 54 watts is the most that you'll get out of the USB port if you needed to draw on it. And then there's a USB PD port, which is 1 times 5 volts, or 9 volts, or 12 volts, or 15 volts, or 20 volts, at 3 amps with 60 watts max. That's really interesting that there's this PD port that gives you all the way up to 20 volts. So this gives you a lot of options for the way that you use this little guy. It's got
the
the
USB.
USB, yeah.
Huh.
So there's a lot of different options
Why
on
are there
this.
some that have more pros and cons but depending
It all depends on the wiring and the electronics that are in it. But what they're saying is it's a nice, useful little box because it has the capacity to get that 120 watts out of here, to get the 120 watts out of here, to get the different USB ratings from 5 volts all the way up to 12 volts with 5, 9, or 12 volts there. And the same thing with the USB PD. This has more wattage capacity than this does. And then this here gives you up to 330 watts for a total of 346 watt hours of use at 125 volts, which is between 110 and 125, so regular sort of thing. So it's really nice that it's got all those features in it. And what else do we see? It's got wireless. It shows here.
Yeah, they're wired, and a flashlight.
And a flashlight. So the wireless charger. Oh, there's a wireless charger. That's interesting. We need to see what they have sell for that. 1 times 10 watts. So you have this 10, it may have come with it, or that's just saying that that's inside the top here receiver for wireless charging. That's great. You don't have to plug anything in. You plug some unit into the wall or into the inverter of the solar and just put this within range and it slowly charges. What? Is that possible? What? That's amazing. So
I don't
read
get
about
it.
that. A lot to read. LED light is a 0.5 watt LED light, and then a flashlight 1 watt. So there's actually 2 lights.
There's 2 lights. There's one light right here, and another
turn that
light. Let's see. We've got one. That's this light. Oh, nope.
There you go.
Bam.
Okay. So that's the LED light, which is 0.5 watts, which is more conservative, doesn't use as much power at half a watt. And then the super bright one there, which is really nice. So you can see in the dark when you go camping. All right, well, that's the Togo Power. And it's a pretty cool...
Power station.
Or Togo, I guess. I like calling it Togo, like the island. Togo's nicer, right?
Togo's better.
And okay, so let's pop it in the, let's see, and you pop it in the backpack.
Got this. Still got room to like put your food and your other...
Oh, I'd put my Oculus.
Oh,
yeah, I got to put your Oculus in there.
Oh, all right. So you put your Oculus in here. You put your food.
Got to have your
here.
laptop. Does it have room for the laptop and the Oculus?
Oh yeah.
If it's a small laptop, not a gaming laptop.
Yeah, not a powerful one.
Right. Okay.
And then you have room, and you're on your way.
Yeah, because you have to have your VR rig. You can't travel anywhere, and then you charge your Oculus from this little guy. That's what I would do. I would just go into the mountains or into the desert with my Oculus Quest and my Togo and a solar panel. It would have to be a foldable one that you can carry like a suitcase, because I ain't gonna fit in there. Although I used to have a 25 watt foldable Sig Cell solar panel. It was the can't remember the brand, but it was copper, indium, gallium diselenide foldable solar panels that we used to just throw in the backpack that would charge this. I just don't see them on sale anymore. People aren't, and they're flexible, more flexible than the silicone ones. But that would be nice to be able to throw that in the backpack as well. So all these things are possible, but yeah, cool technology coming down the pike. Please do try this at home.
And like and subscribe.
That's right. Oh yeah, hit like and subscribe, and we'll continue turning Nathan from zero to hero. And just as a secret aside, I was a 0 too, and I'm probably only at about 0.5 right now myself. If you feel intimidated by any of this stuff, just hang with us, because we're the people who do this kind of risky stuff so that you don't have to. And then we can teach you through our mistakes.
There's a lot of mistakes.
There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes. Okay. So long. Bye.
All right.